a 60-30 constructed game played at Portland Game Store in Portland, Oregon. Up top is my friend Jesse playing a Battlemage deck, and then I am playing a Druid deck on the bottom of the screen. The Druid deck that I'm playing is a Beasts deck. It's got a boar package, and I'm also running a kind of a janky combo with Monastery Gargoyles and Rita Garv's Nodonia. First turn, I play a floodplain to my home site and pass. First turn for Jesse, he plays Carleon and then gets out Sly Fox. I'm going to draw a site for turn. I felt pretty good because I had a pond in hand, and I'm going... so I drew a spell on the off chance that I get either a Lugbog Cat, and I did, so I got that turn 2, which is living the dream. If you're running Lugbog Cats or Pro Unicorns and Ponds, that is pretty much where you want to be on a turn 2. Debating on what site he wants to play out here. Looks like he has a Pillar of Zyros in his hand. Or no, it was an Aqueduct. He plays a Troll Bridge. Again, that's also a pretty good, pretty strong turn 2 site placement, because it's going to jam up the center of the board there. Unfortunately, the Lugbog is 4 power, and the potential strike on the bridge would be 3. Turn 3, I'm going to play a Pebbled Path. And I'm just now discussing, like, I forgot to summon Tawny turn 1, so Jesse was gracious and allowed me to roll that back. And we reconstructed, you know, like turn 1 it would be on the floodplain, turn 2 I would have moved it up. Turn 3, now it would be ready on the pond site. So what I'm deciding to do is... I'm going to force an attack in with the Lugbog Cat to the bridge and take the 3 points of damage, and have Jesse choose whether or not he wants to block with the Sly Fox, and he did. And then I attack in with Tawny. I think that was kind of a mistake. I probably could have just attacked with both of those minions at the same time. Actually, no. I don't know if they would enter simultaneously. I think they would enter one after another, and then you still run into the issue with the Troll Bridge. I could have used Tawny to attack first, though, if we're thinking about optimal sequencing there, and then attacked in with the Lugbog. And I think that was probably what the optimal play was. This turn, Jesse plays an Aqueduct and then plays his own Lugbog Cat onto my pond, which puts him in a pretty good position. I drew a spell for turn. It looks like I have a Torse Hammer Trinket, which is pretty good. I mean, on its own, at the very least, I can Torse Hammer Tawny every turn for 2 points of damage. A Pillar, which I can't really take advantage of, but I need to get the thresholds, and that is the site that I had in my hand. 4 mana for turn. And I believe I have a self-same, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to call a self-same on the Lugbog Cat. So the self-same comes out, it targets the Lugbog Cat, creates a copy of that, and then I attack into his Aqueduct with Tawny for 1. And unfortunately, I needed 4 to get the Lugbog Cat out, so I could not use the trinket this turn. Jesse is starting his turn. He is sitting at 3 mana right now. And a lot of Battlemage decks can be pretty fast. They can be curved pretty low because the Battlemage wants to get out there immediately. I think most of them still want about 4 mana though, so he's going to tap for a sight. And he is tapping, yeah, for a Babbling Brook to lock up the Lugbog and the self-same copy. So he's gonna stick that there, disable those guys, play out a Unicorn, which is not a bad play. Got 1 left, but he's going to pass turn. Gonna get started on my turn here. Spell for turn, so I'm going to go with 4 mana base for right now. Get started with the Torse Hammer. I'm going to move the Torse Hammer and Tawny and attack into Carleon to get 2 points in. The Druid will tap for a spell, or a sight this turn, excuse me, to draw a sight. And I guess that's all I had that turn. I'm just going to pass turn. And then Jesse points out that even though Tawny wasn't disabled before the attack, when it moves into attack, because it's nearby the Babbling Brook, it would become disabled when it enters Carleon. So we rolled that back, and we bumped his life back up 2 points. Jesse plays a Slyfox out onto his Troll Bridge, and then moves up his Battlemage to start get the Battlemage into position to start swinging, I think. The Unicorn is attacking him for 4, so I let that one pass for now. He's going to attack in this one, and at this point I think I opt to trade just to get one of those four power bodies off the table. Or no, I'll let that one through too. I don't remember off the top of my head why I decided to let those 2 attacks through. It is possible that I had something like a grapple shot that I was saving on this turn that I could then use to take care of both of these minions with just the self-same. So Lone Tower is going to give me 6 mana for turn with the Genesis. And 5 for a Monastery Gargoyle. And then 1 for the Lugbog Cat. I think the math in my head was that I had the Torse Hammer in my hand, so I could favorably kill off his minions with my copy of the Lugbog, as long as I had 1 mana available for the Torse Hammer. So that's what I start doing here. Jesse's gonna get set up for his turn. Looks like he drew a Bodyguard. So a bodyguard, if it comes out, it's going to be another 4 body for him. The Monastery Gargoyle. He's asking what the Monastery Gargoyle was. I forgot to call it. I told him in the strategy for the deck is to call artifact at the end of the turn, so it becomes an artifact like a monument. And then at the beginning of turn, I have the option to choose what it is again, and I would call a creature, which it would then be 3 power airborne minion. And he's just reminding me that the trinket would have bounced back to my hand at the end of turn. So we clean that up. And then he takes the opportunity to bury the self-same before I have a chance to do anything about. Attacks in with the Lugbog for 4. And he attacks into the pond with the Battlemage for 3. And the Fox for 1. And I opt to let all of that damage through and not defend with the Gargoyle. Or actually I can't, because like I said, the Gargoyle was called as an artifact. I suppose there's not as much of a reason to call it as an artifact at the end of turn. I just mainly do it for the combo that I have with Rediguar in this deck. I'm gonna take the opportunity here though to Earthquake to remove the Lugbog cat. Feels kind of bad doing it just to get rid of 1 minion and leaving his Fox, but you know, I'm at 4 and probably getting to door very quickly here, so I needed to reduce the body count on the table. And then I'm debating whether or not to, I think, move the Druid or to flip this turn. Yeah, I'm deciding whether or not I want to move up or if I want to flip to get Bruin and force that 1 point of damage onto anything that enters a site nearby. And I choose to move, I think, to get better positioning before the flip, and then attack in with my remaining minions here. So Tawny for 1, the Gargoyles for 3. And pass turn back. Jesse has enough power on the table right here to take me to door, so I expect to go to door on this turn. He's looking at his cards. And here's the bodyguard. It's not in range to offer benefit to his avatar there, but it is a solid 4 body right now. And when I go to door, that is going to be harder to deal with, or even more of a threat. He's choosing to move his... he's choosing to attack with his Battlemage. I think he's just debating on which site he wanted to attack. We got the attacks in, we got 4 points. I've gone to door, and he's passed turn over to me. On this turn, I'm definitely going to flip the Druid to activate its 1 point of damage aura on nearby sites, as well as generates the Bruin token that acts very similarly to the Royal Bodyguard, in that it's a 4-body minion that will soak damage that would be directed at the avatar, the Druid. have 5 mana for turn, and I drew into a Great Old Boar, which is a 5 power, which is a good card, and it might get me out of this jam. Unfortunately, it doesn't have charge, because I don't have a dead squeaker in my cemetery at this point in time. But it gets me a 5 body on the board, and then I flip and I get a 4 body with Bruin. And I also have the gargoyles, and well, Tawny can't defend, but I also couldn't really attack into anything without getting blocked. Like any side I could have attacked into, the bodyguard could have just blocked it and killed it. So it felt like a throwaway to do that. It was best just to leave it there. I could have repositioned it to Carleon, but I thought maybe it would have been better just to leave it where it was for positioning options to attack anything interesting that he decided to put out there. So he needs an option to remove the boar in some way. The 5 power on the boar is more difficult for him to overcome. And I don't know if he has any like kill spells in his hand. It doesn't look like it. Like it doesn't look like he has something that's going to be able to deal direct damage. Just the fact that the boar is out, the fact that Bruin has generated, it changes the way he has to think about the game now. He also can't use the Sly Fox to attack in for any additional damage onto minions on neighboring sites, because of that flip. It'll take a point of damage into any nearby site that it enters. So it's stuck where it is right now, which effectively renders it non-functional. Well, it renders it non-functional, like largely for most interactions that you'd want to use a minion for at this point in the game. If he can't come up with a way to deal with the boar or Bruin or some of my pieces this turn, next turn, left unchecked, I'm just going to start swinging with the boar. So I would probably attack up, take out the Royal Bodyguard, and leave myself in a position with enough blockers to get by, and then hopefully continue to develop my board state with whatever cards that I have in hand or am able to draw. So Jesse's thinking long and hard about it, because like he is doing the mental math in his head as well, and he understands that he has to deal with at least one of these pieces or it's going to be problematic. And I don't think he has anything this turn that's going to help him start making better trades here. He's got the Sly Fox, second Sly Fox that he plays out, and he at first tries to play it on the Babbling Brook, but I remind him that the Druid is flipped, so it can't enter there without immediately dying. So he plays it back on Carleon. Looking at his hand, it looks like he doesn't have the pieces that he needs to deal these large body threats right now. He plays out the Screaming Skull just to get it out there onto the Battlemage and then pass his turn. So this sets me up for a better turn where I can at least start making some favorable trades. Having his Sly Fox back in Carleon offers some protection against against me running the boar in and killing the bodyguard, unfortunately. And again, I cannot attack with everything because I need some blockers to defend against his Battlemage, against the bodyguard right now, and any other potential threat that he might be able to get out onto the board. If he hadn't played the Sly Fox, I think this would have been an easier decision to make for me, because I probably would have just taken the boar, like I had said, and immediately attacked into the bodyguard. I call Assorted Animals, and I call it for 4 mana. I think I'm searching for a Squeaker and a Lugbog cat or a unicorn. One of those. Yeah, a unicorn, a 4-body for 3, and then the Squeaker for 1 to fill that out. And I think I wanted to leave 1 mana open for the Torse Hammer this turn as well, for what I was trying to do. Or no, I just I wanted the 1 mana left to cast the Squeakers to have another body on the table as a blocker. When you're at death's door, I mean, sometimes the best you can do is you throw down a bunch of bodies that can act as defenders, and you hope that they don't have like damage spells. I attack in with the boar and choose to discard a card and from the Troll Bridge, and he lets that through. I don't remember if there's a reason why he thought he would want the Sly Fox in there, or if he just forgot that was an option for him to be able to block with it. And then one of my last moves for this turn here is going to be to tap for a sight. And I tapped for a sight because it felt like it didn't really matter terribly too much if I moved away. If he had a kill spell of some kind, I could not walk away out of range of it potentially. He's running earth. He's running earth. He's running water. There aren't a lot of direct damage spells in those 2 elements, and then potentially Caerleon is giving him a fire threshold, but I don't know if in this deck he is splashing for fire, or if he's just running Caerleon as a duel to get earth and water. I would imagine he's just running Caerleon for the earth and water, and he's not splashing fire spells in there. When you're facing off against earth and water, they don't have access to a ton of direct damage spells. Like, water has access to Ice Lance, which is not commonly run in Constructed, because there are usually better options. And earth has access to Stone Rain, which honestly sometimes people put in just because that is the only earth spell that is able to deal damage in that way. He can't do anything with his turn, so he passes it back to me. I attack into the Battlemage with the Squeaker for a point of damage, and then he opts to block with the Sly Fox, just because there's no other value that he can gain from that Sly Fox. Unfortunately, I have a second Great Old Boar in my hand, and because the Squeaker is now in my cemetery, I am able to charge it on this turn. When the Squeaker dies, I also do the flip for 5 cards to see if their Pigs shows up, and the Pigs did not show up. but being able to charge in with the boar was enough to take him to the door and still leave Brune and the gargoyle open as defenders. And then, because again, I didn't think that it was going to net me any benefit walking away, I just tapped for a sight. Looking back on it, I mean, there might be a little bit of benefits to walking away if all he had was the Battlemage, because he'd have to take a step to get to me and then find a different way to strike or something. Jesse throws in the towel at this point with facing down like 2 boars, the gargoyle is more than enough, and Brune is more than enough attack vectors in to kind of seal the deal for him. So he felt cornered in, and he didn't feel like he had the pieces necessary to flip the game and stabilize. So a fun game with Druid. I don't play Druid that often, mostly because I don't like playing against Druids when I see them on the other side of the table. But I needed it for this specific janky combo that I'm trying to run in this deck with Gargoyles and Rita, which you did not get to see in this game. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.